Hey guys, it's Steve from Orlando Collector Deviants. We are here live with the Drinking With Show. You guys asked for it to come back. We're coming back bigger, harder, and I got excellent amount of guests, and we lost one of them. we went live and we lost Tom right off the bat. But we
what
still
happened to Tom?
Yeah, Tom dropped out. He'll come back.
Yeah.
But right now, let me introduce. We got Mr. Nicholas Scranton, DeadPool. Hold on, we're gonna make him bigger. So
Make me bigger.
yeah, well, trying to.
That's John. All right.
Well, no, there's. Are you gonna DeadPool right there?
All right.
And then we got Mr. Leigh, the Living Dead Weston, owner of Living Dead Comics.
Thank you.
We have in the rafters, we have John, the Collector, Neville, because I didn't know what else to think of his nickname for him, so the Collector.
I'll take it.
Sounds really good. Better than the Helper. I was thinking the Helper because you help out at every booth.
The Muscle. I don't know. That was maybe about 20 years ago.
I like the Collector. It fits.
Yeah, it fits.
It fits, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we got everybody on here, and we got the child over here.
The child.
Oh, see, you got Leigh back there. He got all his props ready to go.
I'm sitting in my store, so the sky's the limit.
Okay, guys. So it's been a long time since we've done the show and gotten everybody together. I wanted to start the show off with a bang. We got Tom back in the weight room down there. Let's see if we can get Tom back up here.
And swirly.
You here, Tom?
Hey!
Well, I see him. Did we got him? We got Tom. Here. Okay, we got Tom, the confather, Raupp. So we have all the big names in the industry right now.
Big, all right.
Hey, everybody knows each and every one of y'all. So how is your summer been? I'm going to say that. With everything,
like Groundhog's Day, Bill Murray, it's like that.
Yeah. So you're repeating your day every day.
Yeah. Get up, go to work, go home, play World of Warcraft, go to bed, get up, go to work.
What about you,
Very
John?
little break at the monotony, But it's getting better. Looking forward to some things coming up.
So, John, how has your summer been?
Summer's been good. Paige and I went to a wedding in Houston earlier in the summer. Went and saw my parents last week, but just working. Thankful I'm working still. But my dog's loving it. He gets walked 5 times a day. So it's been pretty good, man. He's getting in pretty good shape. Had a little vet appointment. They said he'll live a long time, thank God. So I think the extra walks are helping, man. Hopefully they'll start helping me too. So
Nick, Mr. DeadPool, how's your summer been?
Summer's been good. Shop's doing really good. We're coming back. Vito Mall had opened back on up in right around August or June. Yeah. Still doing pretty good.
That's good. And Mr. Tom, how's your summer been?
It's been all right. Because I get to see more and more people now. For a while of, doing it from home was getting to be kind of boring. So getting out and seeing some people and hanging out recently has been real good.
Yeah, I had a good time over there the other day.
it's always an adventure when you get to go shop at Tom's. It's always awesome.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah, that's right. We'll have a couple sales.
Good stories.
Yeah, well, a couple sales at the house, couple always good to have her over when they want to shop and stuff, and just to hang out and BS.
Yeah, that's the best part.
So I got to start getting out on the road now. Start going to some stores.
Well, one of these days, me and Trish
What
will make
about
it
you,
over to
Steve?
Tom's
You've been traveling a little bit.
Yeah, well, we had to start traveling. I mean, the whole thing with no conventions and nothing going on. We're a dead page, so we had to get out there, go to every little show we can. Here's one. We got a comment already. I'm gonna put it up there. Popculturerama.com says Tom should go topless.
If they want, I'll show a little Magnum PI lettuce for y'all.
Yeah, no.
Tom just
Tom's
needs
going to
another
pass
drink.
on that one.
And David Finley over there at FYI, Feed Your Imagination. He says, "What's up?" So what's up, David?
What's up, David?
Yeah, Dave actually expanding his store.
Is he? So see, David doesn't tell us anything. Yeah.
I see how that is.
He's moved. Well, no, just it's recent. But he's going to move next door to a bigger space. So he'll have a bigger space. So he'll be able to get more things out on the floor, having them all crammed up. So for the end of September or October, to be moved into the space next door.
Oh, nice.
Well, he also wants to know
in the in the area.
He also wants to know when you're coming over.
When am I
Tom.
coming over? I'm going to try to fit him in the next week or two. Yeah, within the next week.
Well, and then Lance Footer over here, my buddy Lance, he got $1 for you, Tom.
Yeah, I've got to hook up with Lance. I got to get some art or something out of him. The man needs to get back to work, and I got to keep him busy.
Oh, well, see, that's one thing. I've been noticing Lance have been keeping busy this whole summer. That's one good thing about him, with him being an awesome artist and what he does.
Yeah.
And David said he also posted a video today.
Yep, he did about these expansion. Congratulations, Dave.
Good job, David.
Did we lose Leigh? We lost Leigh. We got to bring Leigh back in. Okay. Now we're bringing Leigh back. I knew it got quiet there.
There's Leigh.
So what do you guys think of this new setup that we have for the interviews with the videos, where we can pop up stuff and all that kind of stuff?
I like it.
I like it a lot.
And I was going to ask you guys.
This is seems pretty. Yeah.
How did you guys like the intro video?
Cool.
Need a maybe want to go back to the gym.
Hey, when I was picking out the pictures and I'm looking, it's like, dang, does my stomach look that big in every picture we have? I'm gonna start telling Trish from here up now.
Yeah. The high shots. I have had my wife master that one.
I've never promised all my pictures would be flattering.
I've looked at every one of mine and none of them were flattering for me. It's like, oh. And then I didn't realize that I was that much taller than Tom in that one picture. I'm standing right next to Tom, and it's like, oh my God, I'm that much taller.
Yeah,
We got to get Tom an Ethernet cord.
if I could go straight up, I'd be right.
Okay.
We're going to hardline you, bro.
Hey, how are you making out at the shop? You guys pretty busy?
Yes. Last 2 months have been really, really good. Last 3 months, ever since we opened back up, it's been killer. You know, people trying to find their happy place.
It's therapeutic, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be home anymore.
Oh yeah, well, like Chris says, nobody wants to
Good.
be home anymore. Everybody wants to be out of the store, enjoying what is open.
Yeah.
I want to socialize,
Mhm.
shoot the shit with my friends, hang out, go to the movies, go to the cons. I really miss cons.
And see, that's the thing with the small shows that we've been hitting and everything. The people are loving it. They're eating it up because everybody's tired of being at home. They just want to be out and about.
Yeah.
Back to normal.
I mean, we should have something going on in December out at Osceola. Louis trying to put something together.
What date is that on?
I don't know yet. It's still up in the air, but it's in the works.
Sound like somebody was drilling something. I heard a drill going.
No, that was a duck.
That was a duck?
I don't know.
I'm like, really? Jeez. Okay, so I'm going to get this off, and we'll kind of go around the table. We're going to start with the first question, since it's been a while. We can start up in the corner with Tom, and we got Leigh down there doing Ultraman. Why did you get into whatever you're doing? Like, Tom, how did you get into collecting and selling comics at the conventions?
Well, back in my day, computer and video game, so we read, went out and played a lot, and just enjoying the books. And then when I got ready to get in school, I figured I'd grow up and say books. First show I did, went with long boxes, came home with box and 15 long boxes. So after that, I was like, this is a great way to get new comics and build my collection. And then after that, I just kept doing that. And now I'm at the point where I don't really collect, but I like getting the books because it's cool to find neat stuff and all it. So that's where I'm at now. It's just buying people's collections and enjoying it, holding it, and looking at it, and then turning around and finding a good home for it now.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. John, how did you get into collecting, and how did you get into helping out with everybody at the conventions too?
So how I got into collecting was, I think I was about 5 or 6. And, back in the day, you do like the magazine drive at school. Well, some kid knocked on our door and he was selling subscriptions, and he's going down the list, and my mom wanted me to read. So, he's going through the names of the comics they're doing for the fundraiser. And, it's like Hulk. You're like, oh, yeah, Hulk. Lou Ferrigno was big. Then it goes to like Transformers. And I'm like, oh, man, I love Transformers. And all of a sudden I get down to G.I. Joe. And I'm like, that's the book, G.I. Joe. So around 86, 87, I started getting the subscription in the mail. Whenever we'd go to the store, my dad would, pick me up a book or two, which was really cool. But then from, 4th, 5th grade is when when I discovered there's actually comic book shops. So I started going to comic book shops and, buying back issues. And, and then one day Tom called me up. He said, hey, how would you like to help me at Tampa Bay Comic-Con? First show I ever helped him at. He goes, bring a couple boxes. So I brought a couple boxes, and next thing you know, I had some money in my pocket. So got rid of some books I'd loved and enjoyed, and I've been helping Tom ever since, and so it's been great.
Now I've been to a couple of shows. You don't just sell comics, you sell other collectibles too.
Yeah. So one thing I've been into for a long time too is video games. I love vintage video games. I have a near complete NES set. I need 80 games or so. So video games, I've been collecting those since I was in college. How I got started with that was in my dorm room, I had an old crappy TV and a Nintendo Entertainment System, and everyone on my floor would always be in my room playing video games. And next thing you know, everyone's bringing their games from home, and I had like 100 some Nintendo games. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna try to get them all. And next thing you know, going to flea markets and Goodwills back then, and they're only a couple bucks a piece. And now the ones I'm hunting down are $200, $300, $400, $500. So, but video games, toys, I've always collected toys, Star Wars, GI Joe, muscle figures, little pink guys from back in the day. Love those.
Oh yeah.
Records, I have a lot of records. I'm starting to thin stuff out. I got married last year, so need some space. So bringing cool stuff to shows is always fun, and enjoying stuff that I'd enjoyed, or seeing someone else saying, "Wow, I had that when I was a kid." And it makes me happy that it's going to good home, and someone's going to appreciate it.
Okay, I got to show the comment that just came up. You gonna do it? Paige says, "Yes, get it out of the house."
Yeah. It's been a thinning process. I went from having many comic boxes down to a few, but then I bring more stuff home. So she's come to the realization we probably need a bigger house. So.
Who did we lose? We lost Tom again. Okay.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. So, Mr. Nick, DeadPool.
Yes.
How did you get into everything? The cosplay, the collecting, the board game. I mean, you do kind of everything. And you own a store.
So it started when I was probably in middle school, and I went into my first ever comic book store. It was over in Deltona, but it was Adventures in Comics. And they had been around, for years and years, but then they closed up like right around 2000. But that's where I started.
I bet you Leigh knows those guys, right, Leigh?
Yeah.
Adventure into Comics. Was that Chris?
Yeah, Chris. That was over
Chris
in Deltona off Providence.
Yeah, I used to work for him when he had a store in Orlando back in the early 90s.
Yeah. He had opened that, I want to say late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, I was in there. It was probably 19. Oh man, 89. It might have been a fresh. Yeah, 1989.
Oh wow.
And I started working for him in like 92.
Yeah, but that was like one of the first ever comic book stores I ever went into, and then just started collecting from there. I've got a huge bedroom of just all different kind of collectibles. When I was 16, I worked at Universal Studios, played Spider-Man for 5 years. So
that's dope.
Yeah, that was like my first real job, and then from there
that's
on,
like a dream job right there.
Right?
Yeah. And then from there, it just kind of grew. And then last year, I opened up a comic book store over in the Oviedo Mall, and that's Versus Comics and Games.
Hold on one second. You there?
Yep.
See?
There you go.
There you go. Let me move that so you can see it. There you go.
Yeah. That looks good.
So, yeah, that's your store in the Oviedo Mall. And you're over by the Eat Play District.
Yeah.
By the arcade over there?
We've been doing really well.
I hope you're by the arcade. I'd want to be by the arcade.
Yeah, they're by the arcade. Most importantly,
we're right by the arcades.
Most importantly, he's right by the bar.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the bar is great. Yeah, if you ever go to the bar, order the DeadPool.
Nah, order the Punisher.
Okay.
The Punisher was pretty good, but the DeadPool is better.
Yeah, tomatoes. Well,
Right.
Okay, Leigh. Now we're to you, because I saved the best for last because I know you got a huge backstory.
I do.
Yeah. So how did you
again?
The question. Why did you get into what you were doing, and how did you get into it? Into the
comic book store?
Into collecting, into the comic book store, because you remember you're not just a comic book store, you're a collector. You're very adamant.
I mean, I've been collecting a long time. What got me into comics was ElfQuest summer camp, like 1984, Camp Weewa, like downtime. I was probably like 8 or 9 years old, and kid had comics, and I read ElfQuest, and it was done over there. Next thing you know, I'm walking into Chris Clem's shop over there on Bennett or Corrine next to Manatees, right around the corner from Enterprise 1701 by the Navy base. I'm walking into his shop, long boxes on the ground,
Uh-oh.
Oh, did we lose him?
If you can hear me, Lee, you froze up on me.
You wouldn't think it'd be that cold in Florida.
Well, it keeps freezing up, Tom, and I think Lee's down at the bottom again. Keeps freezing up, Tom and Lee. Jeez.
He's coming back.
Okay, you're gonna add him back.
That's 'cause
Okay.
we should be there with drinking.
I know, but see, I think it's because you're
I
actually drinking
know.
tea, Tom, and not any alcohol.
I have a beer with me. Where you at? Where am I at?
I have a big trip
Where'd we
tomorrow.
go? Oh, there we are.
There you are.
But anyway, yeah. Then that's how I got into comic books, and I'm going into Chris's store. I remember going to the Coliseum back when they were on OBT, and going to that store and going to conventions back there, like the Maitland, the show in Maitland. That was a big show I liked to go to a couple of years in a row. And then in the comic book store, I've always wanted, like 20 years ago or so more, I was like, after collecting and amassing this collection and buying toys and everything, it's like, I think I want to eventually open up a comic book store, or to do something like that. So I started going to cons and just buying keys and buying books and buying, whatever, figures and whatnot, and the goals of like accumulating a stockpile for, inventory for a comic book store. And then the opportunity came up to take over Living Dead Comics because a buddy of mine was looking to get out of it, and I moved right in. About 5 years ago, I worked at UPS for a little while I was doing both, and then I quit UPS. Worked at UPS for 23 years, and 5 years later, here we are, Living Dead Comics.
5 years later, and you got your own van.
Yeah, the van. Best thing I ever did was wrapping that van.
Nice.
Oh yeah, minor celebrity when I drive around the Conway area.
Well, what I noticed was you were the first one in the shopping area where you're at to have a vehicle, and then all of them started following suit behind you, wrapping up their vehicle
Charlie's
and putting out.
had that Winnebago looking thing down there for a while. I think the band room definitely upped his game with the trailer but he always had a couple little cars. But yeah, wrapping the van was the best advertise. If you're at a store or anything, it's better than any magazine, flyer, coupon, anything. Just wrap the vehicle and drive around, and it's great.
Yeah, that's our next investment is a wrapped vehicle.
Now, see,
Yeah,
the one. Oh, go ahead.
It's just like it's like whatever advertising budget you have. That like anytime they come into like, oh, you want to this flyer or be on this menu or coupon book or whatever, it's all junk. Wrap your vehicle.
Well, what we want to get is like one of the box trucks, and then just wrap that because we can use that for conventions.
The van, I like the van.
Yep. Yeah.
Box truck
Well,
good too.
The question is, Leigh,
too, and I parked the trailer in front of my shop, and it's better than a sign.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can see it a lot better.
do you dress up like Mr. T though when you're
the
driving
sign,
on
it's a little thing up in a corner of a big billboard, but that trailer you can see, and people drive by, and I hear it. It's the same story every day. It's like, oh man, I've been driving by every day for like weeks, months, and I've wanted to come in there, and they finally did, and I was like, oh man, I'm glad you made it.
Now, the one cool thing about Leigh, and what I think is really cool with his whole love with comics, is his whole family is into it.
And my dad is. My mom, she supports us.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah, well, she support. I've seen her at the cons working her butt off to help you guys, and
Oh yeah.
I've seen her just with the big smile on her face, watching you guys work, and she loves watching you guys have a good time.
Yeah. I miss the cons, man.
We all do, and they're slowly coming back.
Yeah, I'm looking
I
forward
know. I
to
can't
that toy
wait
show.
for him to come back.
My first show. Toy show
Tom,
in
you're
October.
in January, right?
Tom has his DeLand show coming up in January.
Yeah.
Awesome show. Awesome
I
show.
can talk to you. Space available?
What's that?
You got space available?
for the land show, Tom. You got space available? Leigh wants to get in on that. But there's the first part. Where's the?
I honestly have to say that the Land and Daytona are probably my two favorite shows to go to as a
Next one.
collector. I mean, for the
Both that are
Land,
open still.
Daytona.
And I
Is
mean,
awesome.
Daytona is
I can't
awesome.
wait to
Yeah.
go to the next day.
Oh, I really like Daytona.
I mean, the amount of books you get in that room.
Yeah.
You have more comics in Daytona than you do all of MegaCon and Tampa Bay Comic Con, which is
Well, that's because Tom brings down the greatest.
And toys, man. So many cool
Well, I
toys.
didn't pay John to say that.
Geek toys.
No. Before I started helping Tom, those are the two shows I look forward to going the most. Those are the ones my wife will actually go to with me. But yeah, I mean, you go there, you find books that you look for all the time. I mean, it's like I said, as a collector, I mean, you see people you don't usually see at the bigger shows. One, because the tables are affordable. So more dealers come in, dealers you don't usually see. Great deals, lots of books, toys. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I love going. Like I said, that's probably those two shows hands down are my favorite. The one up in Jacksonville is pretty good too. They've been doing up in Jacksonville is a really good show as well.
Collecticon?
And then Brick City was pretty good. I went to Brick City.
Not Collecticon, Leigh. It's the Jacksonville, was it pop-up show, or it's one that Tony puts on up at the Ramada.
Here's the other thing. I love seeing George's stuff on Leigh's dad. I love seeing your dad's posts all the time. It always makes me smile. He posts really cool stuff. So
yeah.
Toy show. Comic and
the Jacksonville Comic and Toy Show. Now,
you should
John,
bring your dad next time you shop.
you notice that? See if John recognized that or not.
which one?
What I just did.
Uh-oh. from my days of Coca-Cola working there.
Yeah, that's the Barks one. But remember, I told you I was going to put it up on the wall.
Yeah, you did.
I put it up on the wall and I use it. So
I always have a church key on my keys since my days of college. Well, I'm getting it right now. I know you guys are from Windsor. I don't know if you remember the Smiling Moose in Greeley. That's my church key.
well, yeah, I know the Smiling Moose. Because you got to remember, I'm from Milliken. I'm not from Windsor.
Oh, you're from Milliken. Yeah.
But so there was my cider boys going into the glass, and now I'm gonna do my shot of Fireball that I put into it too. As everybody gets quiet while they watch me mixing drinks.
I want it to be like that lady who makes the vodka drink. You ever see the video? She's like, "Yeah, you put a shot of vodka in, glug 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 glug."
Well, I wanted to, but I don't got a lot of Fireball left, so I have to use it sparingly.
Fireball.
And Paige says to let it on fire. Light it on fire. See, I like Paige. She comments a lot.
Yeah.
And then you got Michelle, who over here says she loves Daytona. So we do too. As Tom knows, the Daytona show is one of my favorite shows. A lot of people save up for MegaCon. I save up for Daytona.
Yep.
Yeah, I tell Daytona. I tell all the serious guys Daytona.
Yep.
Yeah. Daytona's one of the best.
That's a true comic book
The
show.
only thing is, though, is Daytona is for your back issue collector, your key collector. You know, it's just for like the good old comics. You know, if you're looking for moderns, there's some of that there, but
Golden Age.
loads of good old stuff.
Oh yeah. That's the place where I got to put my hands on the first Amazing Fantasy 15. Just to be able to hold it in my hands was just so awesome. And you see books there that you don't see other places because they don't want to take them anywhere else. They know they can bring them to Daytona, and they have a really high chance of actually selling them and getting them out of their inventory. And I think Tom froze up
Definitely
again.
buyer's market, Daytona.
Yeah.
But I did
I'm
learn
definitely
a
when I
little
go.
secret about Daytona is you have to be there. All the best sales go on before the show starts.
Hey, shh, you're gonna get people upset. Don't say that.
Hey, they can get upset. They just they need to pay to get a table there.
Daytona is intense. You know.
Hey, I will
There-
say
there's-
what Tom,
There's a lot of wheeling and dealing with between dealers, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
But
I mean,
there
'cause, you know,
are a
we're
lot
all
of good books
We're all
in that room
collectors
at
at
all.
heart. Almost all the dealers are collectors at heart. You know, and if you're not, I question what you're dealing in.
And that
well,
Yeah.
pay, and if you pay to their chance to walk around comes in, so
Yeah.
it's and there's some deals that go on, but there's always good books.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, and if everything works
I'm
out,
there.
we hope to
You're
come back,
there.
next fall, to
I've been telling
2-day
Chris Clem,
show.
he's got to get in there.
and you know, and have fun and yeah. Well,
Well, see-
I've been talking to Chris a lot, so we'll see if we can't twist him to get him to say.
Well, see, and that's the thing. Like I was gonna say, what Tom told me when I mentioned that one time, one year, he's like, "Well, if you want to get in there on the good deals, buy the table, and so you can get in there on the good deals." So just remember that, everybody. If you want to get in there, buy a table, get a booth, so you can get in there and look at everything before everybody else does.
I often thought about if I ever
And
did a
have
booth at
money in your
MegaCon,
pocket.
I would
Have
just
money in
like,
your
you know,
pocket.
like to get the deals. It would just be like a hangout area, like, you know, like a TV, like a place to chill out at MegaCon. A little 10x10 Living Dead Comics hangout area.
Just bring like a couch and some chairs and some.
Yeah,
Cartoon
some tables and
full of
chairs,
Corona.
hang out. You know, maybe have it roped off with a little rope, you know, a little VIP section. You know, just make it a little Living Dead
That'd
VIP
be awesome.
section at the con. Not even try to sell anything, you know, because I can't wrap my head around that.
Now, Mr. John Pinto put in here, love Daytona. I walk around too much at that show. Nice to see familiar faces and Nick.
Hey,
So,
John, love you.
Hey, John.
Hey, John. And Paige says sell snacks there too. Yeah, John, we're happy to be back. I know it took us a while. We took a big hiatus off. Because when we were planning to come back, the whole C19 thing happened. So we got depressed a little bit, just a little bit, because it kind of killed our page. But we used the time to get different equipment to come back, better setups, better everything, so we can still bring you the same level of interviews that we gave you before, because, you know, you guys need something better than half the stuff that's going on out there on the internet now. So we wanted to bring back the same quality that we were giving you guys and be a lot more prepared this time around. Okay, enough about us. We'll go back to you guys, because everybody wants to know about you guys. So one of the next questions, and guys, these are questions I ask people throughout the last few weeks. If I have people on, and I specifically name pretty much all you guys, what would you want to hear from these guys? So these are questions I actually got from outside sources to ask you guys. So the next one is, and we'll start with John, since he's up in the corner now, because everybody's playing musical chairs here. What is the biggest? Let's see, we just lost Tom again. What is the biggest or most expensive
I'm
thing?
back.
Hey, that was good. What is the biggest, most expensive thing you have sold?
That I've sold. So I sold a Bloodshot Zero Platinum Edition, which is a probably less than 25 known. It was an error book. I took cash and trade on it, roughly worth about $2,850. That was probably the biggest book I've sold. What was fun about that is I found it for $1. Paid $60 to grade it. Came back at 9.8. So I'm one of those people. Lee will tell you, Tom will tell you. When I go to a comic book show or a con, I like to dig. I found it in the dollar bin. That's my claim to fame on that one. I've sold copies of Amazing Spider-Man 1, X-Men 1, stuff that had been in my collection. But that Bloodshot book was definitely probably the biggest thing I've sold, individual book. But I do, there's certain books I always say I'm never going to sell, but we'll talk about that later. I think I saw some of the questions from last.
You saw a couple questions how I was showing you guys how stuff was working. But I'm going to reiterate what he said. Dollar bins, you never know what you find because some people don't know what they have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what I think is my best dollar bin find was Marvel Spotlight #6, the second appearance of Ghost Rider.
Yep.
In the dollar bin. So I was happy with that one. Okay, Nick.
Yeah.
Nick, what? Same question. What's the biggest, most expensive thing you've sold?
That I've sold?
You or the store, roundabout, same difference.
Yeah.
Lee's already sitting there trying to think. Look at that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, we didn't have any like high-end comics or anything like that. Personally, I've sold some of my collection of comics and everything. I sold a couple Spawn. I had a Spawn #1 and #2 signed by Todd McFarlane, but there were copies, so there were extra ones. I've got another 1 and 2 that is signed as well, but I sold those.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
And look, McFarlane's signature right there. Everybody wants that.
Oh yeah. Well, he used to come and visit. What was it? It was in the late '90s, Sci-Fi City.
Sci-Fi
Over
City,
there on High Drive.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's why I got his signature.
1701.
Yeah. They got sued for that.
Enterprise 1701 back in the day.
Okay, so Lee, what is the
Yes.
the biggest or most expensive thing that you've ever sold?
Comics?
In
I
comics,
sold a giant size I sold like 2 months ago. I sold a giant size #1. I don't know. I traded that Hulk 181 to Jack for a whole bunch of good stuff. I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of comics. I sell in like the $500 to $1,000 range. Not a lot, but a few. Those are like the biggest thing. Usually it's vintage comics.
Okay.
I sold my Magic collection back in 1995 to Enterprise 1701 for way too little money, but
Yeah.
I bet you're kicking yourself now for that one.
oh yeah. But I mean, I got at the time, I got like $3,000 for it, and I was happier than shit. But, in retrospect, I mean, I sold them like $300,000 worth of cards.
Oh wow.
Okay, Mr. Tom, your turn. What's the biggest purchase or most expensive?
Jesus.
What is the biggest, most expensive thing that you've sold? And I know this is what the question. I'm pretty sure the question was geared toward Tom.
Right.
The collections, I mean, him and money off of them. But singles, Amazing Fiend. I sold one last year for $15,000. Sold one this year for around $25,000, and then a Hulk one graded five, I think. It's $20,000 book. Sold that. But most of it is mainly 1,000 to 5,000 range. It depends on the books
Tom's
and
big time player.
how much I spend on them as making money.
Well, I actually got to spend this last weekend watching you wheel and deal.
But yeah,
at least at one.
Wheeling and dealing, buying.
Yeah, you were buying, but I actually got to see you in that process. which most of the time, if you remember, I'm watching you being stressed out about
Yeah,
this
it's,
show, that show.
Well, that's because we want to make sure them shows are good. We want to make sure that the vendors do well and that the attendees have a great time. So, I worry about that to make sure, because I want people to keep coming back. I want them to keep coming back. I want them to have fun. I want them to spend money.
No,
I want the vendors to go home and go, yeah, we made some money. We're back.
Well, I wasn't complaining.
That's why I'm a little stressed at them shows.
You're one of the hardest working guys behind that. You're one of the hardest working guys behind that scene. That part I know. I've seen all that.
No thanks.
Okay, so now we'll go to the next question, because we had one more comment that was from Paige saying he's a nice guy.
Yeah, she was referring to McFarland. So Paige, when we were dating, this is how good of a girlfriend / wife.
Oh, well, thank you.
She stood in line. He did a signing in Denver, and I asked her to get me a couple things signed, and she got a Spawn 1 sign for me and his art book, which was really cool. So I said, we were dating at the time, so she went out and did that, which was really awesome. So, but I think she was referring to Tom too. I don't know.
I was gonna say now is he a nice guy, or was she like the most excellent girlfriend at the time?
I'll tell you what, yeah, she's the best. That's why I put a ring on it.
Oh,
Smart man.
It only took you 15 years, but who cares?
Yeah, well, we've known each other for over 20 years, so
yeah. See, and
no, I'm dating though.
One of our friends, Tammy, says hi. She's up there in Ocala. She is a hell of a sculptor. Her Annabelle has she's made the Annabelle doll. That's like her claim to fame. Everybody loves her Annabelle. That is so creepy when you turn around, go around a corner, and it's just sitting there on a table looking at you.
It's so realistic. I don't want one in my house.
Yeah. And Paige says that she was talking about Tom, not about Todd.
She likes Tom because he gets me. She gets me out of the house.
Well, yeah, because she gets rid of you for the whole weekend because of Tom.
I get him out of the house and I make him sell his book.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. I bring home money, and I get rid of stuff.
John sells books so he can get money.
I know for a while it was saving up for an engagement ring, and then it was saving for a wedding, and then hopefully someday some kids, and we'll see.
And then George and Alice says Tom is the real deal and puts on one hell of a con. And he does. I will admit that. I mean, to me, every one of Tom's shows are a hit.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen a dud yet. Except for what there was a thing back in Melbourne that we don't talk about, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The con shall not be named.
But other than that, they're all good shows.
It went smooth.
Okay, so let's go. We're gonna go to the next one. I'm gonna ask a question that's not on the list of what people have asked. So all the comics this week, what is everybody's kind of pick? I know Tom doesn't do a lot of the modern stuff, but maybe he'll know anyways. And this one goes out to kind of mostly for Nick and Leigh. What is your pick of the week?
Oh, shit. Hold on. I'm unprepared.
Putting him on the spot.
Of course, I got to put him on the spot.
Oh, he's going to get it.
He's got to go get it. Because I actually want to start doing a little spot with
some new stuff.
Yeah, the new stuff, you got to be on top of it. And not saying Tom's not on top of it, but, he does better with the old stuff.
All
What
right,
about?
well, and that I'll tell you mine.
Okay, you tell me
All
yours,
right.
Nick.
So I like DC's Black Label. They've got a new one. It's Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey. So right now they're at the first and second issue. The third one's coming on out, but it is really, really great read, and the artwork is phenomenal in it.
Cool.
I'd have to say too, the Black Label, the book I really liked was The Question. I was a huge Question fan, especially in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, I read that.
When Denny was doing it. I mean, it was amazing. So they redid The Question on the Black Label book. So that DC Black Label's been really good. I agree.
It has. Even Batman Damned was really good.
Yep.
Okay,
All right,
Leigh.
All right. Well, for what came out this week, I guess my pick of the week would be Vlad Dracul by Scout Comics.
Okay.
I love Dracula stories. This is pretty cool. But this is also came out too. I was showing it earlier by Marvel.
The Ultraman, right?
I was super hyped about Ultraman.
Oh wow!
It's a giant guy in a robot suit fighting big giant kaiju monsters. It's badass.
Well, I grew up on Ultraman. He was part of that whole MonsterVerse.
Scotty,
that's
What was that?
And I love the Scotty Young variant. That's awesome.
This is the last copy.
Oh well, put it in my pool. And there was a dog that went by.
Ultraman.
The Spider-Man Ultraman, that's cool.
And then I also like this one too, the photo, old school photo variant.
Yeah.
That's cool.
When I was a kid, I lived in Chicago for a little bit, and they would show Ultraman before school. And depending on what time we got ready for the bus, I got to see him kill the monster at the end, which was pretty rad. So
Loggerhead.
Yeah.
Bloody Bayou, Scout Comics. This came out a few months ago.
I think
This
she's
is cool. I thought you'd like it, Steve.
laughing from a while ago.
Oh yeah, that is awesome.
This is one of my favorite independent series going on right now, Kanto.
What's that one
IDW.
about?
The Hollow Men. These little guys that don't have a name, and they're slaves to this master race, and their hearts are taken out and replaced with little clocks, so little clockwork guys. It's just a cool, unique story, and the art's super dope, and I like it.
Well, you've never steered me wrong, Leigh. So I always like to know what your pick of the week is.
Killock, right, Lee? Killock.
Oh, Killock's the best thing this year, hands down.
So, Leigh, I got to ask, when is Transformers versus Terminator 4 coming out? Because you got me addicted, and now I need the fourth one. I need to end it.
That's got to be, 3 came out, probably, I'd say about 2 weeks.
Okay.
The biggest book I'm looking forward to this year, though, probably be that new Kevin Eastman book, Last Ronin.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Oh, yeah. I'm waiting for that.
Like all the Ninja Turtles are dead except for one. There's one left. He's got all their weapons. It looks badass. It's revisiting an old story, apparently. And this book's it's been postponed. It was supposed to be out already, but now it looks like it's not going to come out till like November.
Yeah, that's what I keep asking you. I'm still on that pool list, right? Every time I go in there, it's like
yes,
I don't want to miss that one.
No, yep, you got it. I got
You're competing with the dog, Leigh, and you're kind of losing.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's tough. I can't compete
Jumping
with a
up on the
dog.
table.
He wants to be part of the show.
Just want some
Love
love.
to be
baby.
part of the show.
Some love.
Actually, back in October of last year, we had him dressed up like Beetlejuice. Remember that?
Yeah, if you go to my page, it's the the header of my page still. He's on there.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yep.
He likes to dress up too.
Okay, so we'll go to the next question real quick since we just did the current stuff. Each of you, what has been your favorite purchase? And this time we'll start with Nick. How about that?
All right. Actually, at the Daytona show 2 years ago, I got the Morbius first appearance of Morbius #1 and #2, the Spider-Man 101.
That is cool.
Yes, it's actually right up on my wall too. I'll show you guys a little bit of the Morbius. Check out the whole collection.
So what got you into Morbius?
I'm a big vampire fan, so those were my favorite.
Okay, so you're a big vampire fan, but you dress as Deadpool instead of Blade.
I know.
I mean, come on.
The leather jacket's really hot.
But you're in a leather suit.
It's not leather, but I'm naked under it.
Okay.
You're flagged as a flasher then, or what?
Yeah, it's just
Too much
information.
It just went from PG to rated X.
Yeah, there we go. Well, it's painted on like Rebecca Remain in the X-Men movies.
Basically. Well, that, and I've got, I just picked this up 2 years ago over in the French Quarter. It's Anne Rice's Interview with a Vampire comic book.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. It's actually her personal collection.
Wow.
Because she was doing a estate sale over there in the French Quarter is where she lived. And I picked up her comic books.
Dope. That's cool.
Yep. #1 signed by Anne Rice.
That is cool. Okay, so let's go. We're gonna go to Tom next.
Uh-oh.
So-
Favorite purchase. I'd have to say it's a collection I bought with Tony last year. We were able to books and spread them out for a year to DeadPool and finding homes for them and in that collection. I mean, it was the people we bought them from. The woman's brother passed away, and it was his collection, and she was so excited to have us get it because we were just geeking out over all the cool books we found in there.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite purchase made. It's great books. Owns one, and we told others to just more we were at, people came over. Asking us, so we had more books from the DK collection. So that's been my favorite recent purchase within the last few years. And that's, it was just cool books. It spanned from the 1960s all the way up to the present. And like I said, there was just a lot of books that we were at homes.
I'm going to interrupt real quick. Yes, Brandon, this is live, as you see Trish put on there. Brandon holds his own little show, but this year is going to be he does Free Play Florida, and he's going to be doing a lot of different pop-ups this year. Instead of one major one, he's going to be doing a lot of different pop-ups, which we'll be posting on the page when we know the whereabouts and times and everything. And John knows all about Free Play Florida.
Go every year.
So at least it's not being canceled this year. It's just going to get split up. Okay, Leigh, what is your favorite purchase that you've made?
This year?
Any year. What is your favorite purchase total?
Nah, I can't do that. I can do this year, though. My favorite recent purchase. And then we're walking, so I didn't want to carry it over here. We're going. It'd have to be my Herculoids.
Herculoids are nice.
I saw those in person
Oh, yeah.
before they even hit his store.
Yeah, I got all 3 of them in the Herculoid set.
I'm getting dizzy.
Hold on. We're moving around.
Like Blair Witch up in here.
Look at there's the nose shot right there.
You see him?
Got to back it
Yep.
up a little bit.
I'm gonna take off the banner so people can see it better.
There we go.
Nice.
Nice.
One of my favorite cartoons as a kid was the Herculoids.
Those are cool.
Oh yeah.
I like Hercules. You know which other one doesn't get love? Lee was Thundar the Barbarian. I thought that was a pretty
Oh
rad
yeah,
show.
Thundar. Oh yeah.
That was a rad show.
Thundar the Barbarian.
Now, a little tidbit about the Herculoids there. Those were picked up from the Lakewood toy show. Lakeland.
Yes.
I said Lakeland toy show. So that was awesome. Our friend
my
Jeff
buddy
David.
Jeff that puts on the toy show picked them up for me. I saw him
Yep,
in your
Jeff.
walkthrough.
Yep, see? So at least the
I
walkthrough
spied him
does
in your
something good.
walkthrough video.
Hey, as long as the walkthrough helped you and you found it. But yeah, our friend Jeff,
I love the walkthrough videos, man.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
but our friend,
My favorite, my most recent awesome comic book purchase.
oh, it's an
Walked
Archie.
into Coliseum Millennia, and they had this on their wall. I was like, "Oh, I need it."
That is awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a price tag you can't afford.
It was only
Probably.
$100 on the wall there.
So it's only 200 at
I
least.
scooped it.
That's
I
a
put
cool book.
3 or 4 on it. It's an expensive book, and then
Oh, so now
I
look,
love this
the
book.
confather has his cat. I gotta stop you, Lee. The confather has his. Look at that. He's just stroking the cat in his hands. It shows you he's the
Stroking the
confather.
cat, you can't show that on a live stream.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lee. I didn't mean to
This is
interrupt
the
you.
one that
But
nobody ever gets to
That's
see at
all
the
right.
house because she always runs.
now they're fighting animals with animals here. Who's gonna get the most love? Okay, back to Lee.
But my favorite thing about this book is the back cover.
The Hardy Boys.
Oh, you can see it. The Hardy Boys. They had some devil horns and a mustache, beard.
That's awesome.
That is
Yeah,
cool.
I love it. Yeah. I love books that tell a story. That one definitely tells a story. Yeah, I've been going down a wormhole with these Archie books lately.
Well, you can thank Trish with that one, huh?
Trish, Tom, the innuendo covers. Just I like the word bubbles and what they're saying. You know?
Oh, yes. The vintage word bubbles.
Yeah. Yeah, just good fun. Good stuff.
Oh yeah.
There's one more I'm looking. I never thought I'd get this one though. Like, there's very few copies on eBay, and they're really expensive for a modern Archie book.
Okay, Mr. John, we're at you.
All right, so there's 2. So one was a gift and one was a purchase. So I'll kind of share that. So
I kind of think I know what the gift purchase was. Yeah.
well, one of the gifts was I was 12 or 13 years old, and anyone who knows me, I'm a big Punisher fan. My dad, there used to be a store called the Giant Comic Book Warehouse in Longwood, and I had wanted an Amazing Spider-Man 129 more than anything. And for my birthday, it was, like I said, I was 12 or 13. My dad went in the store, did a little wheeling dealing, and got it for me. And that was, like I said, back in the 90s, people could tell you that was the book. That was the book over Hulk 181, Giant Size 1. That was the Bronze Age key to have if you were, collecting back then. So I had one of those, and that was like my life is set. Second one was a purchase I made this year.
That's the one I believe I know. From Tom.
I asked Tom, I go, hey, if you can ever find an Albedo 2, which is the first Usagi Yojimbo, I'm like, I will, I need it. And when he bought that DK collection, there was one in there. He was nice enough to get Stan Sakai to sign it for me at Heroes Con. I couldn't attend. I got it from him at a really good price. And that's Overstreet came out this past week, and that was ranked as the 7th most valuable comic post 1970. So I'm
everybody knows the second one, yeah.
That book, my page when I got that book was happy. I mean, I've been looking. That it's such a rare book that the one I own is the only copy I've ever seen in person. And I've seen Action 1, AF-15, Detective 27 in person, Showcase 4. The copy I own is the only copy I've ever seen. Yeah. So, like I said, those are the two books in my collection where after I get Paige and Logan out of the house when the house is on fire, those are the two I'm going for.
Just grab the box there and.
Yeah, I got it in one box, so I'm good. But I'm just,
you're
I'm saying if it came down to a split decision,
I'd be trying to carry 3 boxes at once.
Chucking them out the window.
and Paige says that's our future kids' college tuition. So you got something to tell us? You want to announce anything tonight?
Yet, unfortunately, we're working on it.
That's the funnest part.
That's the most fun. I'm not getting any younger. You can see the gray coming in. My Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, rolling right here. J. Joe and Jameson.
Okay, so next question for y'all. What is in your collection that you will never part with? I think we just heard John's. So
yeah, you heard mine. Those are the two things that I'll probably never sell, barring having to pay the mortgage.
So we'll go with Leigh and his water bottle. I think Leigh froze. He's gonna drown if he doesn't start moving here soon. So let's go back up to Nick.
Yep, my Amazing Spider-Man 101 and 102.
Now, why won't you part with that one?
First 2 appearances of Morbius, and I'm just a huge Morbius fan. So those 2 I won't part with. It took me a while to get those.
So when are we going to see a Morbius cosplay?
I've actually got it done. And I was hoping to do it for Halloween this year, but I think it was canceled.
Now, Halloween is never canceled. Just how we do it is going to be different.
Yeah. However we do it, yeah, you'll see it.
Because you have a storefront, you can still have Halloween.
Yes, yeah, but I don't know if they're going to have the kids coming around in the mall this year like they did last year. Last year was pretty cool.
Who needs kids to have Halloween? I just like dressing up and having fun.
That is true. We are doing a murder mystery dinner for Halloween this year at the shop.
That's hilarious.
So what's on the menu, and I might show up?
Well, it's going to be anything from Eat Play District because they're kind of hosting the food.
Oh, so I can have a Punisher while I'm
Yeah,
there.
you can have a Punisher. You can have your drinks. But we're going to do like a lock-in, and then you got to figure out who the murderer is.
Well, it's Morbius. Duh. He's the vampire. Okay, Tom. What is in your collection that you'll never part with?
Well, most everything I got, I sell. But I have about 20 books and people that since they gave them to me, I've just held on. So they're probably the ones I won't get rid of. But anything else, I've just throughout the years, I can always replace it. So yeah, about 20 books that people have given that were just, something cool that they found that they gave to me. They're stuck, and those would be about the only thing I wouldn't part with.
Sounds familiar.
Like Trish says, sounds familiar. There are certain books that she's been given that she's never gonna part with.
That if it wasn't for a certain person, I'd never have it.
Certain people.
It's just right. It's just certain books mean a lot more to you when given to you by different people. It's cool to go and like I said, I collected it for a long time, but I point now where I can sell it and replace it super quick. Other times it takes a while to replace books. You got something that somebody's given you that they are the blue hand you the book. So like I said, there's about 20 of them.
Well, see, that's cool.
Superhero stuff. That's just stuff people get.
No, like I said, that's cool. That at least shows, not everything's for sale. And Mr. Leigh, back to you, because I asked you last time and you froze drinking water, so you're not allowed to drink water anymore.
What's
So
the question?
What's in your collection that you will never part with?
Anything that I only have one of.
Good answer.
Good answer.
Yeah.
If I only got one of them, good luck.
Hey, no. Well, see,
I have a hard time parting with anything. If I got more than one of them, though, it makes it easier to sell. That's what I told myself, and why I bought multiple copies of things. Is if you have more than one of them, it's easier to sell.
Well, see, I buy things with the intent of, I can turn around and make a profit off of it, and then when it comes time, it's like I don't want to sell it. I don't want to get rid of it.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, just think I can buy it for $5 and sell it for $50. Are you gonna sell it?
No.
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 And like with the Funko, with the Funko Pops, it's like I'm gonna buy 2 of them. That way I can sell one, keep one. No, I still keep one in the box and I open one up and play with it.
You going to FunCon this weekend?
I don't know. It's Kelsey's birthday this weekend, so it's kind of her choice.
Man.
Because Retrorama's going on up in Jacksonville too.
Yeah, FunCon's right here in town, though. A walkthrough of that would be awesome.
I know, but it's the kid's birthday, and
it's the birthday. You got other stuff to do. Fair enough.
It's not that if I can talk her into it, which might be able to, then we can go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's one of those that she actually has the whole weekend off, which is one of those few and far between with her jobs. So
nice.
Okay. Well, we're not going to put that comment up.
No.
So let's see what the next question.
What comment was that?
The comment?
They were all interested. We're like, well, what was on there?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll show you. This is from over. This is from over on Twitch. Somebody just a troll.
Big follows. Sounds like a robot.
Yeah. So that's what it's not a bad comment this time. Christian's not here, so we're not getting the bad comments.
Right.
Tom knows that one. What's the farthest you have traveled to purchase a comic? And we can start with Leigh, because he likes to freeze up on us and come back in.
The furthest, Vermont. I'd have to say Vermont.
What did you get in Vermont?
There's a nice guy up there, owns Wonder Cards and Collectibles, and he sets up at the state fair underneath the grandstand. I just like a guy that sets up comic book booths at the fair. Inspired me to do it this year.
Nice.
But I just like seeing him and talking comics, and I buy stuff off anybody when I'm hanging out. I'll find something to buy. But it was just cool talking to him. I forgot the guy's name, but he owns Wonder Cards and Collectibles up in Vermont. But I going up to see him, and in Long Island, buy a lot of stuff on Long Island, up in New York. Trying to think if I went Vegas. No, I didn't go to any comic book stores in Vegas.
There's a few. I was in Vegas last year. I didn't go to any, but I was having too much fun gambling. So,
yeah. My flight was late, so I missed the comic book bus tour last year. But that would have been cool to see Torpedo Comics and a couple other big ones.
Now, usually you and your dad go on a yearly trip up north. Were you able to do?
Yeah, we didn't go this year because trips have been canceled. Long Island's closed.
Until further notice.
In Florida.
Huh?
What was that?
Everyone from New York's moving to Florida.
Yeah, they're still up there. We'll get back up there. Maybe next year. There's some good stores on there.
And see, that's one of the favorite things. I love when you and your dad come back, and I see all the stuff when you're putting up and showing all the cool stuff that you guys have purchased.
Yeah,
it's one of the highlights of the year. Just to see what you
buy a
guys.
lot more when you're selling it.
It's just so hard to turn around and sell it. It's just.
You got to invest in more than one. If you have more than one, it's easier to sell.
That's the key.
Yeah, but I sit there. Well, I need a second one in case the first one gets destroyed. I got to have that second one there.
Nah.
I have that.
It comes to a space issue. You got to you enjoy things for a while and you move on with them and you use that to buy new things, or old things, or you just got to keep it fluid and keep it moving. And some things you hold on to longer than others,
Oh yeah. So Nick, what's the farthest you've traveled to purchase a comic?
Well, I kind of did it by accident. So last year I went to Washington for the first time. I've got a little brother that's stationed there, just right above Seattle. But he took us to the little market that's in Seattle, Washington. I think they kind of showed the market. You ever watch that movie, You Got Mail?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right there. But there was a comic book store inside that market. So it just, by chance, I went inside there and found a couple comics that I was looking for. And then right across the street, that's where the first Starbucks is.
I don't like Starbucks, so I'm more interested in the comic book shop.
Yeah, that comic book store, it's right underneath where the fish market is. So there's 3 different levels to this market area, and that's where the comic book store was.
So the comic book store is under the fish market.
Correct.
I hope the ceiling never gives out.
Oh, definitely.
You not get that old paper smell, you get the fish smell.
Yeah.
But the setup of the store was fantastic.
That's
it was really
cool.
cool. I can't remember the name. I'll have to look it up and give you guys the name.
All I can think about is I'm one of those. I love the smell of old comics, and everything. But I'm just picturing. I come home and open up the comic, and it smells like fish. Oh, look, hon, this one's scratch and sniff salmon flavor.
Oh, man.
Aquaman never
I'm an
felt
old
so
school
good.
comic sniffer.
Yep. That'd be those itchy and scratchy comics. or Ren and Stimpy.
The scratch and sniff cover.
Yeah.
Punisher had the gunmetal one.
I,
Like
the
gunpowder.
cards, dude. The cards, you have those at your shop. I'm gonna shamelessly plug.
I do have the Punisher cards with the scratch and sniff.
Dude, I bought the heck out of those in the 90s.
Oh, they're the best, man. Comic cards were shit.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I still got notebooks full of them, tons of them, and I still pick them up. Like if we go to flea markets and I see them out at the flea markets, I'll still sit there and pick them up.
I pick them up in collections for next to nothing.
Yep.
Like comic trading cards. Like I'll buy a collection, a couple totes of comics, and there's binders of trading cards and mixed in.
So how pissed off were you though when you in the 90s when you saw your favorite character and like their strength was like a 2 on the back of the Marvel trading card? You're like, that's bull. That guy's stronger than that. I used to get so pissed off.
Oh yeah, it's like how did they come up with this?
Silver Surfer ain't no wussy.
Yeah, he's like he's no 3. He's at least a 6.
You can't be a fan of these street level crime fighters. You gotta be positive,
Exactly. Punisher was like a 2. I'm like,
Silver Surfer strength is huge. Hulk. Punisher, he's just a regular guy.
Hey, but he was a Marine recon specialist. Come on now, from Vietnam.
Yeah,
He's
but,
bad.
he's got like human strength. How is that going to compare to superhuman strength or
He's got-
cosmic power strength?
Practical intelligence.
Yeah, but you got the cosmic power there, Silver Surfer. That kind of beats everything.
Yeah, that does.
Yeah.
It should be 10s all the way down on the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Tom? I know you've like traveled to Japan or something for comics.
Japan for comics.
No, Japan.
Manga.
San Diego, from Florida to San Diego. Yeah, I mean, went out to San Diego a couple times to help Al Stoltz out at Basement Comics. And while I was out there working for him, I'd go walk around, check out books, and bought some comics from some California dealers out there. So it was cool. It was everybody wants to go to San Diego and think it's all about comics, but it's more about multimedia now than anything else. But you see some of the bigger that set out there. Bryant would be out. He'd have about probably 8-10 booths worth of books. Not the only place I ever saw at. But there was just a lot of local California guys that set up. Robert Beerbaum up north out of Washington, I think Redbeard's Comics. But all these guys had great older comics with them. So I'd always make sure I went around one or $2, but it was stuff you never saw. But Ben is by
Now I have a question for you, Tom. How have you made all the connections you have? I mean, you have connections all over the U.S. How did you get all these connections?
the same way you do, the same way Leigh does, the same way John does, the same way Nick does. We just talk to people, make friends with them. Lena's dad are traveling down the coast here, and they've got people that shop with all the time, and those are big connections. And that's what you got to do is you got to meet these people, be nice to them, and be straight up and honest, and hey, if you do a little business, then that's great, and you make a friendship, and before you know it, you're starting to meet people everywhere. And I've just been very fortunate that
I've hung out with the right people that introduced me to other cool people. So I've I've made more and more contacts, I guess is the way you can put it. That's all. Just yourself, like everybody else that's on here. We're just trying to have fun and get along with everybody. No time for drama.
No, I understand. It's just I'm always so amazed at the contacts that you have. It's like Tom knows everybody, and everybody loves Tom. Not that that's a bad thing.
So funny story about that. So
Well,
last year, like was it last year, Paige, or 2 years ago? We were in Virginia. 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, I'm in Virginia, and I'm scoping out some comic book shops. I go to a shop called Victory Comics, and I get in there, and I'm looking for an Albedo 2. This is before I purchased the one from Tom, and I asked the guy working behind the counter, I'm like, "Hey, do you have an Albedo 2?" Because he came out of the back with a Ninja Turtles 1. So I'm like, "Well, if he's got that book, he might have an Albedo 2." Sure enough, this guy comes out from the back, and he goes, "Are you the guy looking for an Albedo 2?" I said, "Yeah, that's me." He goes, "Where are you from?" I go, "Oh, I'm from Orlando, Florida." He goes, "Orlando, Florida." He goes, "Yeah, I know a guy down there. You wouldn't happen to know a guy by the name of Tom Raupp, would you?" And I'm like, and I started laughing. And he looks at me like I'm crazy. He goes, "What?" I go, "I'm Tom's helper at shows for the last couple of years. Like I go and I help Tom at shows." And he laughed. We had a good laugh. But again, this is such a tight knit community. And you meet someone in Falls Church, Virginia, and they know Tom, who lives in Montour, Florida. It's just fun. I mean, like you said, it's making connections, knowing people, and having a good time.
Well, yeah, I had me and Trish
that
had
was
a similar.
Jeffrey Weaver that you met.
Yep.
Me and Trish had a similar experience when we were in Tennessee checking out stores up there. You ask him for something. "Oh, you're from Orlando. You should really talk to this guy named Tom down here. He usually has what you're looking for." It's like, "I know Tom. He doesn't have what I want. That's why I'm asking you." So I would have to say, for me, besides growing up in Colorado and getting comics in Colorado, the farthest we've traveled since I've moved to Florida, I'm going to say, is about Tennessee. Oh, Chicago. Okay, I'll say Chicago for buying comics. And see, that's another one I have to thank Leigh, because if it wasn't for Leigh, we would have never been to C2. Yeah, you buy comics there. If it wasn't for Leigh, we would have never been to C2E2, and he took us that one time, and we've been going there ever since, every year.
Yeah, that's where you go see George Perez.
Yeah, I go all the way to Chicago to see George Perez.
All right.
He lives in Florida.
Hey, man. Speaking of that, I mean, that man right there was so idolized in Chicago. You saw people walk by. "Oh my God, George Perez looked at me. Look, and I can't believe George Perez is actually here and everything." And I'm sitting there, "Yeah, I made an IHOP with George Perez. I mean, it's just George." Did I lose everybody?
No, I'm here.
Oh, yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
no, but the greatest thing was when we were out after C2E2, me and Trish had stayed there, and we ran into George and his wife out on the streets, and he said that he was in Graham Cracker Comics, and not a single person knew who he was until the owner came out of the back and said, "Oh my God, George Perez is here." and then he looked at me and Trish. He's like, "Yeah," and he took a picture with me, and he looked at me and Trish and said, "I know it's already up on eBay." But see, it's just those little things like that. The connections that me and Trish have is thanks to all you guys, because we wouldn't know. Gosh darn it, Leigh, you're getting me sick going in and out. But we wouldn't know the people without you guys. I mean, so we have to do a big thanks to you guys.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. Well, even you, John, you've helped us meet people, and Tom, Tom is one of those guys that when you have to show, he's like, you want to meet him, go talk to him.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
I'll tell you my farthest comic book story. So,
Oh yeah, I forgot to ask John. Damn.
So I'm lucky with work. I travel a lot for work, but Paige and I do travel a lot. So whenever we go anywhere, I'm lucky because Paige will actually Google comic book stores where we're going and lets me go there, and she'll plan out time. But furthest, I've bought a comic book. I have family in Wisconsin. I usually go to Wisconsin every year. I've bought books there, Dallas, California, Asheville, North Carolina, Virginia. But yeah, usually, like I said, whenever we travel, Paige, yeah, my wife is awesome. So I'm not just saying this because she's listening. She actually scopes it out and lets me know that, hey, there's so many comic book stores around here. And sometimes she'll drop me off and take the rental car and go somewhere, and she'll come get me or drop her off at the bar brewery. She'll let me dig for books and do stuff like that, which is really cool. So, I'd have to say probably the farthest would be northern Wisconsin, maybe UP, Michigan is the farthest I've been for a book.
UP, Michigan?
UP, Upper Peninsula.
I was going to say, I don't pee Michigan. I'm a Notre Dame fan, man. I do not pee Michigan at all, okay?
The UP is like Wisconsin, like northern Wisconsin. It should just be part of Wisconsin, except for it's a different time zone. But yeah, UP, Michigan is probably the farthest I've been north, the south of Canada.
I'm trying to joke with him, and he's not even.
No, he didn't even catch it. I caught it.
Okay, at least somebody caught it.
I don't pee in Michigan either.
And Tom looks like he went to go pee.
Yeah, Tom went to go pee.
Yeah. Hey, John, do you have to say everything nice about your wife all the time?
I do, because she's standing right next to me.
Oh, okay. Hey, if you feel unsafe.
If I don't want to sleep on the couch tonight, then yes.
That's
Blink twice if you need help, John.
Yeah, blink twice if you need
I
help.
introduced you to my wife, Paige.
Really?
So she'll pop in. It's my wife, Paige.
Hey, Paige.
How you doing?
Hi, good to see you guys.
Long time no see.
I know, it's been too long.
As Trish would say, she was my Canadian wife or girlfriend.
Yes, I was make believe for a while.
Little inside joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's Canadian. No, she's in Colorado.
Can't wait to see you guys soon, hopefully.
Oh, you too.
I'll make some cookies.
Okay, well, John's going up to Georgia this weekend, so we'll get together.
Sounds good.
So we lost Tom. Okay, so I was going to ask Tom and you both this question, so I'll just ask you. What made you guys decide that this is going to be one of your first shows to go to?
So Tom, like I said, usually I help Tom with shows. There hasn't been a lot of shows this year. I mean, I did the DeLand show. I did I did 2 shows this year. Gosh darn it. One was DeLand and one was another one. And Tom called me up and said, hey, would you be able to come with me to Savannah? And I said, well, let me look at my work schedule. I took tomorrow off. I'm going to head up tomorrow. But I know Savannah has a big comic book following. We were up there last year, my wife and I, Paige, and we hit a couple comic shops, but they advertise their Comic Con there pretty heavily. So I think it's going to be a good show. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
And there we go. We lost Tom.
Hey, John, is it just this weekend, or is it both days, or just one day?
It's one day. It's Saturday, the 12th in Pooler, which is actually a suburb of Savannah. It's a one-day show. I think it's going to be a good show. I was hoping to be a two-day show, but again, I know people are chomping at the bit to get out. I know the toy shows that have been going on have been slam-packed, people waiting to get in. Of course, people need to be safe, wear their mask, wear PPE, but wash their hands. Yeah, DeadPool knows all about that.
Yeah.
Wash your hands, stay safe, social distance, do all that. But I think it's going to be good. People need to go out. People need to be social. People need to talk. You know I reach out to people all the time that I haven't talked to in years just to make sure they're doing all right. But, you know, and here's something totally different. You know, reach out to people you haven't talked to in a while. Talk to them. Make sure they're doing all right. See how they're doing. Especially here in Orlando, we have a lot of people who work for the entertainment industry. They work for the parks, and they've been furloughed. So talk to them. Make sure they're doing all right.
Yeah.
Just, you know, checking on your people. Make sure they're doing good. Talk to them. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've received a phone call for someone I haven't talked to in a long time, and it just cheered me up. Or I've reached out to someone and they haven't expected me to talk to them. But reach out to people, make sure they're doing all right, and check in on people. And, you know, it's always good just to touch base with someone with the intent just to see how they're doing and following up on them.
Okay.
Well, I will definitely reach out and touch people then.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Leigh can't get keep a connection going, so Lee's done for tonight. He says thank you to everybody, and we'll have him on again. We'll get a better connection and go. And now we lost John. So now I'll come over to Tom, because the last question was kind of a joint you and John thing. What made Savannah be your first convention to go to sell again?
Just needed to try something. Some of the toy shows and stuff, I've watched your videos and like when you went down to South Florida to see what people were doing. So I'm trying to get a feel for what I need to do come January. So I figured if I set up from a vendor's point of view, so I'm going to go up there. It's a smaller show. They're doing it in a hotel. They're spacing in between the tables. So it's just to get the perspective from that. But also, you know, like everybody else, like we all met up at Daryl's up there in Perry, and it was great to see everybody. And it's just, you know, want to get out. In our business, you need to talk. You need to, you know, to sell your product, but don't buy more stuff. You need to work, and it's not as full when you're online. So it's more fun when you go in person. So the main reason is, like I said, to see as a vendor the best way to perhaps do a show. Some of the guys that are coming and setting up have set up at other shows in the Carolinas, and they've had a good result. So I'm trying to figure out what they're doing that's a little different than what other shows are doing. So that, and John needs a house and sell some books. So that's why we're going up there.
Making space.
Oh yeah. No, I was just curious because, you know, there's been a couple shows around here, and I know everybody here is still on edge about everything. Like when we did the show down south, well, down there, they were still in phase 1 down there. So everybody was still, like, they went into phase 2 the Monday after the show. I think, my honest opinion, it should have been a 1-day show. 2-day shows right now are not going to cut it right now. And but you were still in an area that was highly hit with everything. They were still in phase 1, where we've been in phase 2 for like 6 months now. So everybody here acts differently. And as you saw from last weekend, Tom, up north, everybody acts completely different than we do here. So it's just where you're at and how everybody's going to be acting.
Correct.
I mean, we were up north and people were looking strange when we walked into the store with the mask on.
Now, Nick, every area is a little different. People react. Nick's got a mask on all the time. He's all right.
I know. And he just got told he didn't want
Uh-oh.
somebody didn't want to be on camera anymore.
Nope, he didn't.
No, so Nick's been safe for like years because he wears his mask everywhere.
Oh, everywhere.
Yeah.
Here, Trish, hand me that.
But actually, we because we do D&D and Magic and everything else at the store, we've built like little kind of like plexiglass barriers between each player.
Oh, that's cool.
So we've done that. Everybody has to wear a mask, in our store, and then we also have kind of reduced the capacity as well.
Well, talking about Nick's mask, I told Trish I want her to videotape me as I start walking into stores with this mask.
Yes, you need to.
I want to get everybody's reaction. I'm wearing a mask,
Yeah.
And John's asleep over there.
I'm awake. I'm good to go.
You gotta hold up the prop guns too.
Oh yeah, I've wore this around the house many times.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I told Trish, I said I want her to go in, and I'm just gonna walk through wearing the mask and at Walmart, someplace I never like to go, and just get everybody's reaction. And then after a Walmart, walk into Publix and get a completely different reaction from everybody.
But you
I
have
actually
to
wore
walk
this
up and
in
like
Walmart.
you have to do like serious shopping wearing
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
You need to go buy a car with a Deadpool suit on. I think that'd be awesome. Just like
Buy a car.
Or at least go ask if you can test drive one of their cars real quick.
you go to the
Yeah.
Tesla dealership and test drive.
Well, what's funny is
where
you'll
would you
see
go?
me around Orlando. I'll be on my motorcycle, just in this outfit.
Nice.
Yep. It's a black and red Ninja. If you ever see me.
No, not black and red.
Yeah, black and red Ninja. ZX9R.
No, I was just joking because black and red,
Oh, yeah.
Where does Deadpool start and where does he end?
You never know. You
Yeah.
don't know.
Deadpool Transformer.
Well, actually, I'm not wearing any pants, so probably right here.
Okay.
You're Zoom meeting ready.
Well, you notice he's the only one that hasn't got up and walked away yet. So
I haven't.
okay. So one last question, guys, before we just
Yeah.
go quarter free for all. Knowing what you do now, is there anything that you would have done different in the past? And we'll start with Nick, of course.
Knowing,
Like knowing, like we'll say, like with the store, knowing what you know now, would you have done anything towards the beginning of it or owning it?
oh, definitely. I mean, keeping track of everything, like the point of sale system, my taxes, everything that I could write off, all of that stuff, I would definitely do differently. But no, that in conventions, I really wish I had gone like early 2000s. Like my first convention, I think was probably about 2007, 2008.
Do you remember what your first one was?
MegaCon.
Back when it was good.
Yeah, definitely.
Back before Fanboy.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, Tom. If you know now, or if you knew then what you know now, would you do anything differently?
Yeah, instead of having all my stuff in storage units and all over the house, I'd actually build a building on my property a lot sooner than what I'm planning on doing now, so that I had somewhere to work. That, and I probably would have started knowing what I know now and what I've been able to buy and sell. I probably would have started doing this full time a lot sooner than when I did start doing it.
So when did you start doing this full time?
About 6 years ago now. Yeah,
so
about
like
6 or 7 years.
right before we met you.
Wow.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, that's when I started doing this full time. I was still running a couple of the shows. Now I got more shows to run, but it's just I worked construction for almost 30 years. And it's just taking a toll on me, and I needed something else. And so I haul heavy boxes around. Actually, now I get John to help me haul heavy boxes around. And this week it'll be easy, John. I want all the short boxes, no long boxes. All right.
Of course, I like it.
So, John, when is your debt for that comic paid off?
Well, I paid it off the day I got it.
Well, that's paid off.
No, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. He's going to be paying that one off for like years.
Tom was nice enough to hold it for me. He got it a while. And basically, I was going to take all the money I had from making at cons, like selling books, to buy it. And Tom held on to me and it for me. And, you know, earlier this year, we were talking and he said, all right, this is the price. It was really, really good price. Came over, I had the cash from the 2 cons I'd done this year, and I bought it. I mean, I was happy. Again, it's nice to know people.
Okay, now John, we'll go back now. I keep forgetting you with all the questions, John, because it's not that you're not important. It's just, you know, you kind of we start here. We start here and then we go all the way around, which, you know, that's what I love about my show. There's no structuredness to the show, like how I just made Trish pop onto the screen, get pissed off, and I took her off. Okay, so knowing what you do now, is there anything that you would have done different in the past? Besides proposing to Paige 15 years earlier?
Yeah, that would have been, you know, we would have had kids in college by now, but probably, I mean, in the 90s and early 2000s, I know I passed on books I probably should have bought for the price. You know, probably buying more key books when they were affordable versus now. I would have probably bought every Batman Adventures 12 10 years ago for $5 that I could, and then sold them now for $500 to $1,000. But I mean, part of collecting is I always bought what I liked when I was younger and to this day. And that's part of the fun of collecting, but probably buy things I wanted when they were affordable, maybe 10, 20, 30 years ago. 30, that would make me 9. But, you know, probably buying things like, again, when they're affordable that I wanted. Because, I mean, now with the recent spike in the price of back issues and the resurgence in the comic book collecting community, prices on certain books have gotten really high. I know, like Albedo 2, which I bought from Tom even a few years ago, was a $500 to $1,000 comic book. Now, I looked today on Heritage Auction. They sold a 9/8 signed copy for almost $30,000. I believe it was $28,800. But that book 10 years ago was probably a $1,500 to $2,000 book. Tom, would you agree on that?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah, so I mean,
sounds about right. Yeah.
Even Ninja Turtles 1 now is a book that probably 10 years ago you could have bought for $2,000 to $5,000, and now it's a $50,000 to $60,000 comic book in near mint and high grade. So, you know, books that I slept on. I mean, as a collector, you always want to get the best deal, and it's the thrill of the hunt to find that book you want. The going to the shows, going to the cons. Like I said, that's why I liked going to Daytona and DeLand, because you would go and you'd make connections and you meet people traveling. But you know, buying books. I mean, when you're younger, you don't really have a lot of money, and we know when you're 10, 12, 13 years old and you're getting paid money to mow lawns and bag groceries or whatever you were doing back then, you know, $100 is a lot for a comic book. But when you're older and you can afford to buy they're good books now, then they're really out of reach, because you're like, man, I got to pay the mortgage now. I can't afford to buy a key book. But probably buying those books when they were cheaper.
Oh, I totally understand. My biggest thing, if I knew now what I then, is one time when we were moving, I was trying to teach Trish a lesson of not keeping everything. Let's get rid of some stuff to make moving easier. And I kind of gave away. I didn't sell. I gave away my comic collection. And that had. I was a big New Mutants fan back in the day, and X-Force when it went from New Mutants over to X-Force. So you know which first appearance I had.
Yeah.
I had the original run of the Infinity Gauntlet. I had all that stuff, and I gave it away. Because I was trying to show her, look, I'm giving away my stuff. You need to give away some of your stuff. And now I'm kicking myself because to get any of those things, you got to pay thousands of dollars to get.
Yeah.
Guess we should have kept it all.
So that's the only thing I regret is the comment. Oh, and what I regret, one of the number one things, I should have went with Spawn instead of Pitt. I thought Pitt was good. I thought Pitt was a badass comic book. I'm like, and I looked at Spawn. My best friend got Spawn. I'm like, man, that ain't gonna do anything. Look at Pitt, man. Pitt was a badass. This is gonna go. And where's Pitt now? In the dollar bin. So yeah,
I went with Max.
You went with the Max.
I went with Max because Max was cool.
Max was cool. Sam Keith.
Yeah. And the glow in the dark #1, I got one of those. That's what turned me onto that book right away. And look, I should have got Spawn back then too, and I never did. But yeah, I liked Max. I thought Max was a good book that came out. Sam Keith art was definitely great. But again, it's when you go back and think about it, just should have bought Spawn.
Should have went with Spawn.
It's always hit and miss. You never know.
Yeah.
I went with Spawn.
So you went with Spawn?
You went with Spawn?
Yep, I went with Spawn.
Oh, you did good then. You had the right choice.
Oh yeah.
You guys will have to take a trip with me real quick.
Uh-oh.
Yep. I'm gonna show you a little bit. Oh, this is the whole room, but I'll take a little trip real quick.
Now see, that's eerie looking.
Is that eerie?
He looks more like Bug from the Micronauts. Oh, check it out.
Yep. Here's my Spawn wall. There's my Spawn suit. Can you see it? There we go.
Yep.
Yep.
Very cool.
Spawn #1s. The whole wall. I've got all 300.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Nice. Very
But
cool.
yeah, the eyes glow in the dark, everything. And I just picked up some of these too. But yeah, I went with Spawn back in the 90s.
Very good. Good choice.
Yep.
Very cool room.
Thanks. It's one of the 4. I've got every single room decorated.
Nice.
And your wife doesn't get mad?
She doesn't. I even have the hallway.
Oh, that's cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah. That was the first time I met why can't I think of his name? He's gonna kill me now that I didn't think of his name. He said hi to me earlier too during the show.
He said hi to you at the beginning of the show?
Yeah.
Oh, John? John.
Yeah, John Pinto. That was John Pinto's work.
Ah, okay. That's like my
6 years ago at Otronicon over at the Orlando Science Center. Because I was working the Bright House booth. We had a booth, and then John had his art booth right next to us, and he did that comic for me.
Oh, so you had to be the whole 4 days next to John? I'm sorry.
I did, but I was working the Bright House booth. That's why.
Yeah, but I'm just sorry you had to sit four days next to him. Jeez.
I know.
But see, I have one. You can't see the whole thing, but I have his Aquaman here. One of his early works that he hates that I have on the wall.
Why does he hate it?
Man, one thing you're gonna know about artists is they all hate their work.
Oh, they do. They definitely do.
So, well, it's like Lance Footer. I don't know if he's still watching, but this Wonder Woman right here, he hates it. He hates it so much that he gave me this Daphne that you see the print of down here, but I have the sketch here. He wanted me to replace Wonder Woman for that. And it's like, I'll put it up on the wall. Don't get me wrong, but I ain't getting rid of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But a lot of what's on my wall right here, the artists themselves hate it, and they hate the fact that I show it on the show. They're their own worst critics, and I love every one of these things. I love. I hate Rocket and Groot, but when I saw this, I had to have it just because I love the artwork on it.
Oh, I like that. That is nice.
And it's just, and as you see, not everything is drawn artwork. I have the Stormtrooper, and you can't really see it, but I also have this melted crayon painting. You would say up there.
It's art.
It's art, but it's
Jackson Pollock-esque.
Yeah. But it's one of the things that artists hate their own work. John didn't even want to sell me that, and then he's like, "Fine, here, $1, take it." I like Aquaman, and that's a great rendition of Aquaman to me. But everybody's different.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm not getting up and moving my camera around like y'all, because then it's going to take forever to set it back down. Okay, so Nick, you said your store has changed a little bit since the whole C19 era.
Yep.
So what's going on at the store now?
So right now we're focusing more on our tabletop games. We still have D&D every Saturday night. We got Magic on Friday nights, as well as we've had Yu-Gi-Oh on Mondays. We actually had to push Yu-Gi-Oh Monday nights, Wednesday nights, and Thursday nights because that's gotten really big at the store. But even since school's been back in session, normally last year we kind of dropped off with our tabletop gaming. We've actually gotten more people into the store for it. So kind of unusual. I think it's because there's a lot of homeschooling. So during the weekends, they want to come on out to the shops.
Please let me get away from my parents.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen a lot of. But we've
got John giving me side eye over there.
That was my dog who was moving.
Okay, sorry, Nick. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Yeah, so we've kind of rebranded. We're going a lot more just tabletop games, getting people, in the doors, that kind of thing, getting our community a lot bigger. We had a pretty big community. We're now open a year and a half now, and we're doing really well now.
Now, I'm going to interrupt you one question, or 1 second. How much did it suck that they shut everything down on your guys' anniversary?
Oh, it was terrible because we were having George Perez come in and sign.
Yeah, that's
he was going to be our artist, our local artist.
Yeah, and I knew that was going to kill you guys, but for them to decide right then and there to shut it they shut it down, I'm like, not only are they killing Free Comic Book Day, but they're also killing your anniversary.
Oh, definitely, yeah, because it was May the 4th. And it was like Star Wars Day. That's why we had it on May the 4th, our grand opening last year. So, but we're having George Perez come because I had told you that I think it was October, November. Remember?
Yep.
When we talked to him, we were like, "Oh man, we got a big thing planned for our anniversary," and then the mall was closed.
Yeah, I knew that was a big thing for not just your store, but for all the comic book stores for the state to shut down when it did. It just killed.
Well, what killed us the most is Diamond. Diamond shut down, and then they weren't distributing any new comics. And then now they have a rumor that their DC's pulling out of Diamond.
Oh, that's not a rumor. They already did.
Did they?
Yeah, they already did. That you have to order your new books from a couple different places for DC now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's a whole big thing. And I was going to ask you and Leigh about that tonight, but Leigh had to take off because he didn't have a connection about how DC coming off of Diamond has affected you guys.
Oh, dude. I mean, well, we just recently got rid of like all of our action figures and comics in the store because we're focusing just strictly on tabletop games.
So with DC leaving Diamond, it doesn't affect you at all.
No, not at all. We got in there, but I mean, we sold our stuff before that whole thing happened because we heard that rumor.
Yeah. That was one of those when I was on the preview show, we weren't allowed to talk about. That was one of they said, we don't talk about the DC thing. And I had to do the whole agreement. I wouldn't talk about the DC.
Well, our rep over at Diamond kept telling us that, hey, DC's going away. DC's going away. So we just got there first.
Yeah, well, the whole thing was, and DC was waiting for Diamond to screw up so they could say breach of contract. And when they shut down because of the whole COVID thing, their lawyers jumped on it that it was breach of contract so they could get out of it.
Yep.
And now, what is it, Tom? If I'm right, and John, I can't remember the exact name, but it's basically Midtown Comics that is DC's distributor now.
Yeah, there's one for the East Coast, and then there's one that does the West Coast. So I don't know the one out on the West Coast. I forget the name of it, but they're both big mail order businesses, and so DC uses both of them, and then they somewhere down the center of the U.S. is where their dividing line is. So one guy takes care of the one side, and one takes care of the other. Leigh would know the names of both of them. I know Midtown's one of them. I just don't know what the other company is.
Yeah, I heard Midtown was taking over their East Coast, right?
Yeah, they're East Coast.
Yeah.
East Coast all the way up to somewhere down the middle of the U.S. somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, I can tell you the store I get my sub at. They tell me if you want a DC book, you better sub to it because once they're out, and they can't reorder. So, I mean, you look at it on two hands. You know that Diamond's had a monopoly for so long, and DC's branching out. So, I mean, there's good and bad with it, but I mean, ultimately, DC's trying to do what's right for them. But I mean, who knows the impact it's going to have to the comic industry as a whole.
Well, I've heard the nightmares about Diamond. Of course, I'm not a comic book store, so I don't know the whole everything. But a lot of comic book store owners have told us Diamond is a pain to work with. So, well, like I said, I don't know. I'm not a comic book store, so.
Yep, they are definitely a pain to work with. They'll only take a check. So when they deliver to you, you got to have check on delivery. The other thing is, like, if you don't get your orders in, like if they lost it and then they find it at the end of the year, that's when they ship it to you.
See, and I've heard that with a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But
for the most part, they are pretty good about their stuff. It's just when you get them all at the end of the year, you're like, well, these were supposed to be new back in March, and now I'm getting them in December. They're worthless.
Yeah, and I've heard that a lot of times your guys' stock will come in and half of it will be damaged and they won't reimburse you. But
definitely. Or they make you jump through hoops to get reimbursed.
Yeah, so I think breaking up the monopoly would be good for everybody.
Yeah,
that's my point of view. But like I said, I'm on this side of it and not on that side. Because I've also been hearing the stories that a lot of the store owners are upset because now they got to, instead of being able to order everything on one order, now they got to do 2 separate orders and all that. And in my head, I kind of sit there and say, "Wah," but that's just me.
Well, as a store owner, you definitely want to find different areas to buy from, because not just one place will have the best price.
Yeah, and this is to me, and Tom and John can jump in at any time too. But to me, this is gonna force Diamond's hand to get back to better customer service and everything.
Oh yeah, well, they're gonna have to update everything, like their website, their ordering process. Like they're gonna have to come into, 2020.
John looks bored.
No.
I have to say, Diamond may disappear too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they might definitely.
I mean, they've had the monopoly for so long, and anyone who's been to a comic shop is
customer service doesn't.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, John?
Oh, anytime that anyone who's owned a comic shop, I know Nick, you own a shop that you got to order so much of statues and books and this and that, and it's just if you just want to carry books or certain things, that it's just a pain in the backside to deal with. And being in I've been in consumer packaged goods for my whole career. If you don't deliver what the customer wants, they're gonna get it somewhere else, and they're gonna get it cheaper, they're gonna get it better. They're going to deal with who they want to deal with, who can supply them the best.
Yeah, and that's why you have to shop around for different suppliers.
Yep.
That's why I think with DC moving away, I could see other books moving away as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, which will be good, because then other suppliers could, definitely branch out. Maybe you can get a lot quicker. Maybe there's a lot better system.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be good. Maybe somebody that takes cards and everything. Because Diamond has only been dealing in checks.
Check on delivery is not a good way to deal with. I mean,
not at all.
Who pays with a check anymore?
The comic book store. Up north, because I saw that a lot when we were at a store.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're hitting the 2-hour mark, or we've actually passed the 2-hour mark. We'll go around the board. Any last comments? Nick, any last things? Plug your store, plug your holes. I don't care.
Hey, you can plug whatever you want. Well, if you're in the Oviedo area, come visit Versus Comics and Games. We're right next to Eat Play District. You can grab a drink there and come play some games. There you go. Okay, Tom.
Very cool.
Where are people going to be able to see you? How can they get hold of you? I know you like how everybody just always reaching out for Tom.
Facebook. You can hit us up on Pop Culture Playground. We also have eBay, Pop Culture Playground store. So we have stuff there. Be up in Savannah on Saturday, setting up a show there. If the one show is going to happen in December that I was told, then we'll be in the Kissimmee area in December, set up there. And in January for sure, DeLand. You can find us in DeLand. We'll be set up there, running the show also. And then hopefully, if everything goes well for next year, we'll be back at a lot of the bigger shows like Heroes, Tampa Bay Comic Con, Galaxy Con up in Raleigh. So we'll be around. We just if you're looking for a book or something, hit me up on Facebook. I'll try to help you out. And that's about it.
I'm gonna. I know I said it should be time to go, but I'm gonna ask one more question, especially for Tom, because he is the confather. What do you think? What do you think the future of the huge cons are going to be like?
See, that's kind of. It's going to kind of be tough to have really super large gatherings, but people want to get out. I think that for the bigger cons to work, They're going to have wider spaces. Instead of having, 10-foot walkways, maybe 15 or 20-foot walkways, just so that people have areas so they're not on top of each other. They're going to have to have less booths jammed up against each other and spread them out a little bit more. Maybe do like they do at Tampa Bay and set them up in quads, and like we do at Daytona, where you do them in sections of 4. That way you don't have long rows of vendors. I think that, you're going to have sanitation or whatever you want to call them, stations set up where they can go over and get sanitizing stuff on their hands so that, everybody feels safe. Mask. I don't know if this is going to be a big thing in the future or not. It may be. But it's just the problem with the bigger shows is going to be that any venue they go to, the venues are not going to want to cut them a break. And that's going to force a larger amount of money to be paid by the vendors and perhaps by the attendees, because we pulled out of one of our events because the hotel wanted us to do certain things, and once we eliminated tables and made wider spaces and did other things for social distancing, there was no money to cover the amount of the room without raising tables like almost double. It's, you want to make the event affordable. So I think the bigger shows are going to have wider spaces for walking, and and they're going to have to divide the booths up a little bit more than keeping them tight together. It's just it's going to be an interesting year in 2021 to see what people do. Are going to have, how many people are going to survive store-wise right now? How many stores are going to survive in the next year? With the way we've had a shutdown, brought it all back. Now comics, you have to have different accounts. What happens if Diamond disappears? What happens if these guys that are delivering the DC books through the mail, all of a sudden we have a postal problem? There's a lot of things that are going to affect the business. And it's just trying to figure out what to do next year. That's why I just want to keep all my small shows. So if I need to, make more space, then I can do it. The bigger shows is just going to be kind of scary with having, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people per day in a venue. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of basically what I would have said, but just shorter. No offense.
Sorry.
No, because I as you know, over these years that I've known you, I really love your opinion, and I listen to it and everything. That's why I asked you this question, because out of everybody that's here on the show right now, I really trust your opinion on how you think the shows are going to go. Me personally, I think the big shows are dead right now, and the small shows are going to make a big comeback. Shows like your show, the smaller 1 to 2 day,
Right, small to mid-sized shows.
Yeah, as you've seen with the toy shows. Nice, small. They're doing everything that they can to make it, social distance and masks and everything. Jeff has been doing. He ups the game each show. He learns from every show to make it better on each one. But I think these 1 day shows and the smaller shows, how we're going back to how we were 10 years ago, where the huge shows weren't all around.
Right.
If you stayed with my train of thought, because I know I went around that mountain and I think I hit the side of the mountain on my train of thought.
Yeah. Small show's good, huge show's bad.
Exactly. That's
Gotcha.
Right there. And what about your opinion, John?
So as far as the big shows, the big cons, I honestly think until we get a vaccine, it's going to be tough. I mean, I know states are cracking down with how many people can be in a gathering at one time. I'm interested to see how this one's going to be in Georgia. Again, I'm going to be there with Tom. I'm going to be wearing a mask. I'll probably wear a face shield, maybe some gloves. But as for right now,
you want to borrow Nick's suit?
Maybe I'll take anything I can get. I can't afford to get sick. But I mean, I could tell you as a kid growing up, in the late 80s, early 90s, when I'd go to a con and it was at a Holiday Inn or something, and there was maybe 30, 40 dealers. I used to love going to those type of things where it was, $2, $3, $4, $5 to get in. You'd go in, you'd buy some books, you'd have a good time, you'd see people. I could tell you, even I saw you at the show that was up at the Leesburg Mall recently. For me, just going to attend, it's a social thing, seeing people you haven't seen, talking to people, finding out what people have been up to, seeing dealers, buying books, having a good time. And again, it's, buying what you like.
We're losing John now. John has Tomitis.
Oh,
I guess so.
Well, I think, and we'll get to you here in a second, Mr. DeadPool. But I really think right now any of the conventions going on is more of a family gathering than it is a convention, because everybody's missed each other for so many months. 6 months that we've all been behind bars, basically. I think more of the shows is just a family gathering where we all get to see each other again.
Yep.
Yep. I miss you, Tom.
Well, Nick, I'm going to stop in and see you at the store, okay?
Definitely. I'll buy you a drink, too.
Sweet. I'm going to have a mask on.
All right. I'll probably come see you guys this weekend in Savannah.
What's that?
I said I'll probably come see you guys this weekend in Savannah.
Really? That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun trip on Saturday. So
Hey, it's only 5 hours from Oviedo.
okay, sweet.
Then we'll buy you a drink if you come up.
Yeah.
Well, goddamn, we're gonna hit the Savannah. Nobody offers us to buy us a drink except for Nick.
Steve, I'll always buy you a drink, man.
Hey,
all the Keystone Light you want, brother.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I said, Nick. You're the only one who offers to buy me a drink. So there we go.
I got you.
Hey, Nick was the one that got the Punisher made for me. So
Yeah. You got a signature drink.
So
Nice.
not very many people in our circle can say that.
There you go.
Okay, guys. Well, when we go to end the show, don't leave. We'll talk behind the scenes here. But John, boom, back to you. See, you blended in again. Anything you want to say before we call it a night?
For me, probably since I was about 6 or 7, buying comics, collectibles, stuff like that. It's always been fun. Like you said, a social thing, meeting people. As a collector, I always tell people buy what you like, because that way, if it goes up and down in price, you'll always be happy with what you have. But yeah, buy what you like, have fun, talk to people, check in on people, and I look forward to seeing people. Hopefully, I'll be up with Tom in Savannah this weekend. If you're there, say hi. I might have a mask on and a face shield, but say hi to me. I'll just say, hey, John, or whatever. We'll go from there.
Okay, guys. I just want to put it out there. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for
thanks for having us.
Thanks for
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being guinea pigs on this first. Like I've been playing LL Cool J. Don't call it a comeback because we haven't been gone, So we've been here, we've been watching, we've been making better. Like I said, guys, we're gonna do the exit video, and then we'll talk a little bit behind the scenes.
Awesome.
All right, sounds good.
So when we do the exit video, all of our mics will go dead. So Do you need me to do it?
Mhm.
Okay, then. Okay, guys. Until next week, back to the drawing board.